Chapter 11, Lingyunzong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Qin didn't even flinch when Ling Feiwu attacked. Not that he could have done anything about it anyway. He just took the hit, face burning, boom, Li Qin went flying, crashing into the ground a ways off. The whole place shook. He coughed up blood, staring at Ling Feiwu in disbelief. Junior sister, what gives, that he couldn't believe she'd attack him. Was she after his senior brother gig? Trying to take him out? Thing was, Ling Feiwu was even more shocked. She didn't answer, just muttered, the sect master was right. Senior brother really has a crazy physique, that she'd held back, but still used 1/10 of her strength. As a profound general, that was enough to waste a regular guy. At least knock him flat, but Li Qin just spat out blood and staggered to his feet. Hurt, yeah, but not that bad. Senior brother, I'm doing this for your own good. Ling Feiwu gave him a sad look, then a playful smile flashed across her face. She winked, was she beating him up or helping him out? Didn't she know fat guys are smart? She was totally after his job. Trying to ice him and take over. Li Qin glared at her, trying to figure a way out. Besides finding the sect master, he was hosed. But how could a regular guy get away from a profound general? Senior brother, the sect master said you've got an amazing physique. He wants me to practice on you. As long as I don't kill you, it's all good. Ling Feiwu added quickly, seeing him hesitate, seriously, amazing physique. Since when? Did I screw up and tick off the sect master? Li Qin asked cautiously. You really do have an amazing physique. Ling Feiwu chuckled, then turned serious. Really? Totally. Could I be some kind of prodigy? He perked up. Then why am I still a regular schmo? Shouldn't a prodigy level up like drinking water? Because your physique hasn't kicked in yet. How do I make it kick in? Get beat up. What the heck, thought if she wasn't so serious, he'd think she was messing with him, using it as an excuse to pound him. So, she was after his job. Boom, that while Li Qin was thinking, Ling Feiwu didn't forget what she was there for. She zipped over and slapped him across the room. He went flying again, crashing into the ground. Junior sister. Why not just have the sect master do it? Li Qin figured she was gonna beat him to death. The sect master's afraid he'd accidentally waste you. So he's having me toughen you up first. Ling Feiwu smiled, all innocent-like. If you didn't see the energy crackling around her hands, you might fall for that sweet smile and soft voice. Hey, junior sister, easy. Be nice. Hold up, suddenly, the sound of someone hollering and howling filled the loft, enough to make anyone cry. Wang Feng, who had come by to see if Ling Feiwu was doing a good job, heard the noise and grinned. With a junior sister helping out like that, Li Qin was sure to unlock his physique and become a top talent. Satisfied, Wang Feng went back to his sect master's hall. Not even 1,000 miles from the Immortal Sect valley, a huge mountain rose up. A palace complex sat on top, wreathed in mist. Looked like something out of a fairy tale. This was Lingyun Sect, famous in the outer Xingya mountains. Lingyunzong might not be a household name in the Yari Empire, but it was a big deal around the Xingya mountains. Right now, Chen Feng, the sect master and an entering phase expert, sat on his throne, looking seriously at the elders below. Sect master, the demon sealing conference is coming up, and Shenxianzong still hasn't hit the profound general level. I'm afraid Lingyun Sect won't make the demon sealing list this year. The voice echoed through the hall. Hearing this, the elders looked worried. The demon sealing conference is crucial. Lingyun Sect has to compete no matter what, and the demon sealing ranking is key to getting into the Bright Sun Academy. Lingyun Sect can't miss out. Chen Feng glanced at them all and spoke firmly. But this time, the decree says only younger disciples can fight. Unlike before, in Lingyun Sect, only Shenxianzong's reached the peak of the psychic realm, and there's nobody else in the psychic realm. How can our disciples compete with the big shots from other sects? Elder Xuanhuan looked anxious and sounded grim. At this, everyone, including Chen Feng, froze, their faces falling. Chen Xian was Chen Feng's son. 19 and already at the peak of the psychic realm. He was the best of the younger generation. Seemed talented enough, but compared to the whole Shining Sun Empire, he wasn't even top tier. What's the buzz around Xingyao Mountains been lately? Chen Feng asked, looking for an idea. The Ling family in Yaofeng City was wasted by the Changlin Marquis mansion. The oldest daughter, Ling, fled to the outskirts of the Xingyao Mountains and was chased by the young Marquis. The outcome is still unknown. At this, Elder Xuanhuan looked different. The Ling family mess is a high-level Shining Sun Empire game. We can't get involved. As for the daughter, she's a walking curse now. Whoever messes with her gets bad luck. Lingyun Sect needs to stay away. Chen Feng narrowed his eyes, speaking firmly. Every prince of the Yaoyue Empire was a princely-level powerhouse, at least. Not something normal sects could trifle with. That'd be like courting death. Lingyunzong would be toast. Got it. When the Ling family daughter ran to the Xingyao Mountains, I had Lingyun Sect disciples check it out. But after the young Marquis showed up, I pulled them back to avoid messing with him. Good. While that kid Changlin's playful, the Marquis favors him a lot. He's got a twisted side. Once he's on you, he's like a tick you can't get rid of. Chen Feng nodded at the elder's words. Anything else? Just one weird thing. Oh. Let's hear it. Chen Feng's eyes shone, staring at Xuanhuan. In a little valley less than 1,000 miles from Lingyun Sect, yesterday there was the aura of a mysterious general. According to our disciples, this mysterious general may have just hit that level. Xuanhuan added quickly. Could it be some solo cultivator who got lucky and broke through on the outskirts of the Xingyao Mountains? Chen Feng sounded shocked, his eyes lighting up. Outside of the bigger sects, nobody really broke through outside. After all, hitting the profound general level was big, so any big sect disciple would go back to their sect and have them protect the breakthrough. Don't know. The disciple didn't dare get close to check. Just felt the aura from a distance. Xuanhuan shook his head. A talent like that, showing up on the outskirts of my Xingyao Mountains, is an opportunity for Rising Cloud Sect. With Chen Xian's talents, I'm afraid that he will not be able to break through to the profound general realm even if I have my Rising Cloud Sect's full help in a short time, or let this unfamiliar genius participate in the Demon Sealing Conference in place of my Lingyun Sect, so that I can win the ranking for my Lingyun Sect. Chen Feng stood up, eyes shining, excited. Hearing this, the other elders were all shocked, their faces lighting up. Sect Master, that could work. Yeah, even if a young profound general isn't top tier, they can still land on the demon sealing list. This is God helping Lingyun Sect. That they were all talking over each other, acting like this newcomer was already one of their disciples. Sect Master, what if they're already with a sect? Xuanhuan asked, not as optimistic. If they're from a big sect, then forget it. If it's a small one, drag them back here first, then waste their sect and keep them with Lingyun Sect for good. Chen Feng's eyes flashed, and he spoke with a hint of ruthlessness. In this cruel world, you couldn't survive without it. Got it. Xuanhuan didn't look surprised at all. He'd expected this kind of thing was common. Sometimes a small sect getting a prodigy wasn't a good thing, but a disaster. You do this yourself. Chen Feng glanced at Xuanhuan, urging, first release on 17K Novel Network. Read the real thing first. Chapter 12, This Sect, the biggest card face of the Immortal Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. System, cash in 10,000 sect points for 10 lottery pulls. In the Immortal Sect's main hall, Wang Feng sat on the sect leader's throne, muttering to himself, he had over 11,000 sect points now. He'd spend 10,000 of them on a lottery to boost the sect's power. Ding! Congratulations! You've won 1/10 of Yaoyue's cultivation. Ding! Congratulations! You've won Yigucheng's original sword technique, Heavenly Flying Immortal. Ding! Congratulations! You've won 1/5 of Shimen Chueishue's cultivation. Ding! Congratulations! You've won Shimen Chueishue's profound skill, Huaguang Sword Dao. Ding! Congratulations! You've won 2/10 of Yaoyue's cultivation. Ding! Congratulations! You've won Yaoyue's profound technique, the Jade Bright Art. Ding! As soon as Wang Feng finished speaking, the system's cold voice kept ringing in his head, widening the smile on his face. Out of these 10 pulls, the second, fourth, and sixth gave him 3 powerful people's profound skills. The rest granted pieces of their cultivation. Wang Feng felt his own cultivation was a bit lacking, and 3 prizes that granted a prince-level cultivation were exactly what he needed to level up. All in all, spending 10,000 sect points was worth it. System, instill the cultivation I've drawn into me. Wang Feng thought to himself that he wasn't about to pump this cultivation into Ling Feiwu or Li Qing. He wasn't strong enough as a sect leader. How could he give away power-ups to his disciples? Only when it stops helping him can he share it with the others. As sect master, he was the biggest asset the Immortal Sect had. Boom! As soon as he spoke, a terrifying force burst out of nowhere and flooded into Wang Feng's body, shaking him to his core. Power surged through him, strengthening him from the inside out. Ding! Congratulations! Your cultivation has advanced to the Prince Realm. Reward, 1,000 sect points. Ding! Congratulations! Your cultivation has advanced to the early stage of the Xuanhuan realm. Reward, 5,000 sect points. Point 2 back-to-back system notifications rang in his head, and his entire presence shifted. He gained the aura of an emperor. Not bad. Now I'm a master in the Xuanhuan realm. Feeling the immense power within him, Wang Feng nodded in satisfaction and murmured, summoning Yigucheng and the others have been great, but as the sect leader, he was only in the phase entry realm, which felt embarrassing. Now he was a Xuanhuan realm powerhouse himself, which felt like a much better fit. System, instill the extracted profound skills into me. Wang Feng added, his cultivation had hit the early Xuanhuan realm, but he was probably the weakest one at that level. With the profound skills from Yigucheng and the others, he could finally fight on equal footing with them. Boom! As soon as Wang Feng spoke, memories flooded his mind. The sheer volume made him tremble, and a faint sword intent radiated from him. He witnessed Yigucheng creating the Heavenly Flying Immortal technique, Shimen Chueishua practicing Huaguang Sword Dao, and Yaoyue mastering the Jade Bright Art. All 3 seemed to have been forced into his memory, causing a splitting headache. Even as a Xuanhuan realm master, the 3 huge memories almost overwhelmed him. Heavenly Flying Immortal, Huaguang Sword Dao, and the Jade Bright Art were all top-tier techniques. Trying to absorb all 3 at once wasn't easy. He almost got himself killed because of his inexperience. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to take the risk. After who knew how long, Wang Feng finally calmed down. The sword intent around him solidified. If the system hadn't been blocking it, Yigucheng and Shimen Chueishue would have noticed it instantly. Phew! Man, that almost killed me. Wang Feng finally relaxed, shaken by the near-death experience. He vowed never to do that again. But, damn, it was worth it. Wang Feng nodded, satisfied. The 3 profound skills were now etched into his mind as if he'd practiced them for centuries. Even though he'd never used them, he felt he understood their essence completely. Thanks to the skills, and the solid foundation built upon his sudden cultivation boost, Wang Feng was confident he could take on mid-stage Xuanhuan realm powerhouses. Wang Feng spent hours familiarizing himself with his newfound power, then called Yaoyue and the great demon Xianxia to the hall. It was the first time the great demon Xianxia had entered the Immortal Sect Master's hall. Seeing Wang Feng sitting cross-legged on the throne, a sense of respect washed over him. Wang Feng's presence was understated, yet he felt unfathomable. Combined with the luxurious throne, he seemed like a celestial king, radiating authority. The great demon Xianxia couldn't help but wonder, if this divine immortal sect was a hidden ancient sect with Xuanhuan realm elders, what kind of terrifying existence was the sect master? Maybe the sect master was the most powerful and hidden boss of the immortal sect. Greetings, sect master. The great demon Xianxia didn't dare to hesitate and bowed respectfully. No need for formalities, have a seat. Wang Feng nodded, pleased with the demon's attitude, and gestured to the seats below. Thank you, sect master, that the great demon Xianxia sat down without standing on ceremony. Despite showing respect to Wang Feng, he was still a master at the peak of the Xuanhuan realm, so he wasn't overly submissive. As soon as the great demon Xianxia sat down, Yaoyue floated in, sending a chill down his spine. He glanced at Yaoyue and quickly looked away, his face full of fear. One look was all it took to know that this fairy-like beauty was the one who had sent him flying with a single palm. Even though Yaoyue was beautiful enough to make his heart race, the great demon Xianxia didn't dare to look again. He knew she was not only cold but also ruthless. She had blasted him out before he even set foot in the attic, and they were from the same sect. If she was so cruel to her own people, imagine how dangerous it was to mess with her. Greetings, sect master. Yaoyue saluted Wang Feng and sat down directly across from the great demon Xianxia. Even though he knew Yaoyue wasn't paying him any attention, the great demon Xianxia was still uneasy. She put too much pressure on him. He knew her cultivation was only in the early Xuanhuan realm, weaker than he was at his peak, and even if she had extraordinary combat skills, she couldn't stand up to him back then, but he still feared her for some reason. I've called you here because I want you to accompany me on a trip. Wang Feng said without hesitation. He hadn't forgotten his mission to recruit 10 disciples. He only had 2 so far, 8 more to go. Besides, the Immortal Sect needed disciples to grow. Now that Li Qing's physique was activated, Ling Feiwu was on board, and 2 sword masters, Yi Gucheng and Shimen Xue, were in the sect. He could rest easy and focus on recruiting new disciples. Yes, sect master, that the great demon Xianxia and Yaoyue spoke at the same time, but the demon felt uneasy at the thought of traveling with Yaoyue. Yi Gucheng and Shimen Xue were cold and aloof, but they didn't scare him. Only Yaoyue, who was clearly weaker than Shimen Xue, frightened him. As Wang Feng led the great demon Xianxia and Yaoyue out of the small world and back to the thatched hut, Xuanhuan, the great elder of the Lingyun Sect, also appeared in the valley. This is the valley, all right. There is a real aura of power in the early stages of the phase entry realm. Xuanhuan landed on a boulder, scanned the valley, and after careful assessment, his eyes lit up, and he whispered softly, as a strong person in the phase entry realm, even after a day or 2, he could still feel the aura left in this place. Of course, he couldn't feel the aura left by the existence beyond his cultivation. How can there be a thatched cottage in this valley? But at this moment, Xuanhuan noticed the existence of the thatched hut. A look of surprise appeared on his face, and then he moved and fell in front of the thatched hut, looking at the whole thatched hut. The Immortal Sect. Xuanhuan looked at the 3 big characters written crookedly on the thatched cottage. A sneer appeared on his face, and shook his head. These days, what kind of cat or dog dares to create a sect? It's really a frog at the bottom of the well, ridiculous and not self-important. Chapter 13, Demon Sealing Conference. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At that moment, Xuanhuan sneered at the humble shack before him, his eyes like ice. His Lingyun Sect, the biggest deal around the Xingyao Mountains, didn't even dare call itself immortal. And this place used a shack as its base. Talk about delusions of grandeur. Suddenly, Xuanhuan froze, every nerve on alert. He felt like something terrifying was watching him, like he had 1 foot in the grave. Boom, star. Before he could react, a palm slammed out from the shack and smashed into him with impossible speed. Boom, the force of the blow sent Xuanhuan flying. He slammed into the ground far away, creating a massive crater as the earth cracked and rock sprayed in every direction. Cough! Cough! Blood dribbled from his mouth as Xuanhuan dazedly crawled from the crater, his face a mask of horror. He looked up to see three figures slowly emerge from the shack. The first was a young man in fancy robes, flanked by a stunning beauty and a hulking brute with tribal tattoos slashed across his face. These were Wang Feng, Yaoyue, and the great demon of Xiansha. Wang Feng shook his head, sighing as he looked at the battered Xuanhuan. He'd never seen anyone so clueless. He and Yaoyue had barely settled in when they overheard Xuanhuan's sarcastic jabber. Before Wang Feng could get mad, Yaoyue had already slapped him senseless. What could he say? Wang Feng didn't blame Yaoyue. Some people just need a beatdown. As far as he was concerned, Yaoyue was justified. He wouldn't tolerate anyone disrespecting the Immortal Sect he had created. The great demon of Xiansha glared at Xuanhuan. If Yaoyue hadn't acted, he would have. Even though he'd only joined the Immortal Sect temporarily, no one was allowed to badmouth it while he was around. The longer he stayed, the more the great demon of Xiansha discovered about the Immortal Sect, and the more he considered sticking around. Even he wasn't privy to the Immortal Sect's full story. It was like one of those secret societies, which in his book made it worth joining. Who do you think you are? Why did you attack me? Xuanhuan, battling pain and fear, glared at Wang Feng and his crew. Although Yaoyue's palm had left him hurting, Xuanhuan hadn't sensed any real power behind it. He chalked it up to being caught off guard by a sucker punch. He was livid. The Grand Elder of the Lingyun Sect, taken down by a sneak attack. He'd never live it down. And to think these punks dared to assault him. Did they have a death wish? Did they think the Lingyun Sect was a joke? Deep down, Xuanhuan knew that they must have some power to beat him so badly. Although Xuanhuan was questioning, his tone was a little weak. If it weren't for the backing of a sect, even if he was attacked, he would have held his nose and recognized it. After all, he was seriously injured at the moment, and the other party was numerous and powerful. It is the so-called hero who does not suffer immediate losses and will take revenge later. It's not impossible. But he was the Grand Elder of Lingyun Sect, and Lingyun Sect was a big sect in the periphery of the Xingyao Mountains, which added some confidence to Xuanhuan. He believed that once he declared the name of Lingyunzong, this group of people would definitely not dare to fight him. On the periphery of the Xingyao mountain range, is the territory of his Rising Cloud Sect. His Rising Cloud Sect said one, but no one dared to say two. This seat? You can barely walk and you're already calling yourself this seat. Wow. Never thought I'd see someone with an ego bigger than mine. The great demon of Xuansha's words were dripping with sarcasm. Wang Feng waved him off. The great demon Xiansha went silent, straightening up and giving Wang Feng his full attention. Wang Feng's eyes narrowed as he looked down at Xuanhuan. Who are you? And why are you disrespecting my Immortal Sect? The Immortal Sect. This is the Immortal Sect. Xuanhuan's face changed, his mind struggling to catch up. The group who'd blindsided him and nearly killed him were part of this backwater. Impossible. How could a sect that operated out of a shack produce someone so powerful? The person who'd attacked him must have been at the peak of the profound general realm, maybe even enlightenment level. Get him. Wang Feng's eyes narrowed. He waved his hand. Even after all this, you're still running your mouth. Time for another lesson. You got it, sect leader. Ha! Insulting the Immortal Sect right in front of you. You've got a death wish. The great demon Xiansha grinned, his face cold, balled his fists and stalked toward Xuanhuan. What are you doing? Back off. I'm the Grand Elder of the Lingyun Sect. If you lay a hand on me, the Lingyun Sect will make sure you regret being born. The great demon Xiansha ignored his threats completely. Looming over Xuanhuan, he grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and dragged him 10 yards away like a ragdoll. Lingyun Sect. Never heard of M. Any group dumb enough to mouth off to the Immortal Sect deserves what it gets. Xuanhuan tried to break free, but his struggles were useless against the great demon Xuansha's massive grip. It was like punching a brick wall. Boom. Boom. Boom, start, soon, the valley echoed with the sounds of flesh meeting flesh, punctuated by faint whimpers. Stop, please. I'll talk. Wang Feng raised his hand, signaling the great demon Xianxia to stand down. The great demon Xianxia dragged Xuanhuan back, leaving a trail of blood in the dirt. Wang Feng winced at the sight of Xuanhuan's ruined face. If you just answered me the first time, you wouldn't be in this mess. You had to be a tough guy. Now look at you. Did you even give me a chance to speak? I barely got a word out before you jumped me, Xuanhuan raged silently. His face was so swollen he couldn't even open his mouth. The sect leader asked you a question. Answer it. The great demon Xianxia backhanded Xuanhuan across the head, just hard enough to loosen him up. The great demon Xianxia put just enough energy in the blow to heal Xuanhuan just enough. Otherwise, in Xuanhuan's state, he would be speechless. I'm Xuanhuan, Grand Elder of the Lingyun Sect, the biggest group in the Xingyao Mountains. I came to investigate the profound general realm energy that appeared in this valley. What's your interest in the profound general realm energy? Wang Feng's eyes narrowed. He remembered Ling Feiwu's breakthrough. He'd assumed the attack had been random, but now it seemed connected to his disciple. Suddenly, Wang Feng was very interested. The Demon Sealing Conference is coming up. We don't have a single disciple in the profound general realm, so we can't compete for a spot on the Demon Sealing rank. We're looking for promising disciples to recruit. Xuanhuan answered without hesitation. He was terrified of another beating. The great demon Xuancha's punches weren't just physical. They were attacks on his soul. The Demon Sealing Conference. The Demon Sealing rank. What's all that? Wang Feng looked surprised. You don't know. Xuanhuan blurted out, then mentally slapped himself. Of course these rubes wouldn't know about the Demon Sealing Conference. Speak. The great demon Xianxia barked. Xuanhuan flinched. The Demon Sealing Conference is a tournament organized by the royal family. All the sects in the Shining Sun Empire participate. It's meant to honor those who helped suppress the great demon of Xianxia, who ravaged the land 1,000 years ago. Even sealed away, the demon's energy leaks out, corrupting the surrounding area. The conference is a competition to see which sect can kill the most demon-tainted creatures, weakening the great demon of Xuancha's power. But this time, they're only letting younger disciples compete, so every sect is scrambling to train their students and scout for talent, all to win the Demon Sealing Conference. Wang Feng's eyes flashed. He glanced at the trembling great demon of Xianxia beside him. Chapter 14, Changlin Zhenwu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chi-Chi, that old geezer is still playing it safe after all these years. Great demon Xianxia hissed beside Wang Feng, a glint of unease flickering in his eyes despite the sneer on his face. How'd you ditch Emperor Yari's seal? Wang Feng quietly asked, glancing at the great demon. He hadn't realized the Emperor of the Radiant Sun Empire was so freaked out by the great demon of Xianxia Temple. After locking him up, the Emperor even threw a Demon Sealing Conference just to drain his power. Wang Feng almost chuckled at the thought of the Empire throwing this huge party while the main attraction was already gone. This great demon Xianxia seemed pretty tame in his Immortal Sect, but clearly, there was more to him. He's got some serious history. Wang Feng mused, sizing up the great demon. To spook the leader of a whole empire so bad they held a Demon Sealing Conference every decade? This guy was definitely hiding something. Heh, the old fool's clueless, the great demon replied, a sneer twisting his lips. All these years, I haven't wasted time healing. Instead, I cooked up a clone trick. What he sealed was just a copy. When Emperor Yari locked him up, the great demon knew the Emperor was the kind to go for the kill, so, the great demon played weak to lower the Emperor's guard, and then poured his energy into figuring out a way to break the seal without anyone noticing. Finally, he pulled it off, created the clone, and slipped out a few days ago. Wang Feng wasn't shocked the great demon pulled it off. When a Xian sovereign realm powerhouse spent nearly 1,000 years obsessing over something, they were bound to succeed. Besides, anyone who could break into the Xuanhuan realm wasn't exactly a slouch. Still, Wang Feng was curious. What did the great demon have that made Emperor Yaoyue so paranoid? The emperor ran a massive empire, so he had to be Xuanhuan realm peak, maybe even higher. Sure, some Xian emperor realm peak guys were crazy strong, while others couldn't even handle a punch from someone at the same level, but with such a huge empire, it was impossible for Emperor Yaoyue to be the sole Xuanhuan realm peak powerhouse. So why were they all suppressed under him? That alone spoke volumes about how formidable the emperor was, and yet, he was terrified of the great demon Xianxia. What made him so special? Wang Feng couldn't put his finger on it, but, even though he was curious, Wang Feng didn't press the issue. As long as the great demon didn't cross the line, he was part of the Immortal Sect. And Wang Feng, as a respected sect leader, wouldn't pry into his people's private lives. What's this demon ceiling ranking all about? Wang Feng asked Xuanhuan Feng, changing the subject. The demon ceiling ranking is the leaderboard for the demon ceiling conference, Xuanhuan Feng explained quickly. The rankings are based on how many monsters you've cleaned up that were tainted by demonic energy. Higher you rank, the more treasures Emperor Yaoyue hands out. It's a big deal, and can even land you a job in the Radiant Sun Empire. In the past, the ranking was for older powerhouses, but this time, it's just for the young guns. No older folks are in this magic ceiling conference. Wang Feng's eyes lit up. A competition for the younger generation? That sounded like a party his Immortal Sect had to crash. Of course, Wang Feng's real plan was to give Ling Feiwu and Li Qing some real-world experience, and put the Immortal Sect on the map. He was tired of recruiting disciples himself. How could a dignified sect leader not have some flair? Once or twice was fine, but if it dragged on, the Immortal Sect would look weak no matter how strong it was. A real top sect could just say the word and every young prodigy in the entire empire would come running. That was the level his Immortal Sect needed to reach. When's the Demon Ceiling Conference? Wang Feng asked Xuanhuan Feng. Less than a month. Less than a month? That's plenty of time. Wang Feng murmured, eyes narrowing. Your Excellency, you've got what you need, so, can I go now? Xuanhuan Feng pleaded, his voice shaking. He never imagined the Grand Elder of Lingyun Sect would sink this low. He seethed with hatred and a desire for revenge, but he didn't dare show it, not with the great demon Xianxia breathing down his neck. Tell me, Wang Feng said, his voice low and dangerous, what does your sect do when it finds a promising youngster in the Xian general realm? We bring them back to the sect. And then? Xuanhuan Feng fell silent, afraid to speak. Answer. The sharp crack of Wang Feng's voice made Xuanhuan Feng jump, and he whispered, if they're from a small sect, we crush their sect and cut off their path. Chi, that's the true face of the Radiant Sun Empire, the great demon sneered. More like demons than this demon. Though a self-proclaimed great demon, he thought he hadn't crossed the bottom lines of morality, and the so-called scourge of the great demon was worth the consequences suffered by the defeated. Kill him, Wang Feng said, turning to leave with Yaoyue. The cold words hit the great demon Xuanxia's ears like a death knell. No, the great demon grinned, a slow, cruel smile. He stalked toward Xuanhuan Feng, and in Xuanhuan Feng's desperate eyes, brought his palm down. Ding! Congratulations to the host subordinate, great demon Xianxia, for defeating a powerhouse in the phase realm, and obtaining 500 sect points. After finishing the job, the great demon hurried after Wang Feng, whispering, Sect Master, now that we've stirred things up with Lingyun Sect, why not go take down the whole place? Let's check it out then. Wang Feng considered it for a moment, then agreed. Lingyun Sect was obviously a bully, and if they found out he'd killed their Grand Elder, the Immortal Sect would be dealing with constant trouble. Cutting the weeds at the roots was the way of this cruel world. And with that, Wang Feng, the great demon Xianxia, and Yaoyue headed straight for Lingyun Sect. Meanwhile, back in Yaoyue City, the Radiant Sun Empire's capital, in the mansion of Marquis Changlin, the burly, intimidating figure of Changlin Ho Lin Tianxiong sat on his throne, with Wang Lao, the old butler of the mansion, standing below. Wang, why isn't Yuni back yet? It shouldn't take him this long to wipe out a remnant of the Ling family, Lin Tianxiong said, frowning. The Demon Sealing Conference was coming up fast, and Lin Tianxiong wanted to push Lin Yuni to his full potential so he could bring honor to the Changlin Ho estate. Your Majesty, I've already sent someone to tell young Master Yuni. I'm sure he's just out enjoying himself, and will be back soon. The old butler replied respectfully. Humph. Maybe I've been too soft on him. All he does is slack off. Is there a single young disciple in the empire as useless as him? Lin Tianxiong snorted, a look of disappointment on his face. If he didn't have just the one son, he'd wish he could send him back and start over. Master Ho, please don't be upset. Young Master Yun Yi is just having fun. He's got talent, and sooner or later, he'll understand your good intentions and work hard. The old butler said with a comforting smile. Expect that kid to amount to anything. We'll be waiting till the cows come home. Despite the harsh words, Lin Tianxiong clearly loved his son. Actually, Master Ho, I just got a message. Young Master Yuni must have known you were worried, so he sent word ahead. Wang Lao noticed his robe trembling and quickly pulled out a token, smiling. That kid does have a heart, knowing I'd be worried. Marquis Changlin said proudly, his eyes softening. Read the message, see what he has to say. Yes, sir. Ho. Lord Ho. The moment the old butler's mind entered the sound transmission talisman, he began to tremble, horror flashing in his eyes. His hand shook uncontrollably, and he dropped to his knees before Marquis Changlin, his voice shaking. What's wrong? Did that kid do something stupid? Marquis Changlin frowned. He knew this old butler better than anyone, and it took something big to shake him up this badly. Young Master Yun Yi, he's dead. The old butler whispered, his tone filled with terror. He knew how much Marquis Changlin loved his only son. Lin Yuni was his only weakness, and now someone had touched it. Boom, starred at a terrifying aura erupted from Lin Tianxiong, shaking the entire hall. A suffocating pressure fell on the old butler, making him tremble uncontrollably. Chapter 15, Advent Lingyunzong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's the matter? Ho Lin Tianxiong's voice was sharp, his face an emotionless mask as he addressed the old housekeeper. The old man trembled. He'd served Lin Tianxiong for centuries, but never seen him like this, cold, utterly furious. Young Master Yun Yi is dead. He was killed in the Xingyao Mountains while chasing after the Ling family's eldest daughter. They only found his bones. Who did it? We don't know. Besides Yun Yi's body, there were 6 guards with him. They're dead too. Miss Ling is missing. The housekeeper didn't need to spell it out. Lin Tianxiong's eyes narrowed, a flash of cold fury in them. He hadn't expected wiping out the Ling family to cost him his only son. Mobilize the Changlin army. I'm personally going to retrieve Yun Yi. Whoever killed him will be buried with him. The old butler was shocked. My lord, you can't move the Changlin army without the emperor's decree. After all these years, the butler knew the Changlin army, while nominally under Lin Tianxiong's control, ultimately answered to the emperor. Without imperial support, Lin Tianxiong never could have built it into such a force. It might not be the Shining Sun Empire's best, but it was a force to be reckoned with. 500 strong, with a commander at the Enlightenment realm. Stronger than some mid-sized sections. My only son is gone. What else do I care about? Lin Tianxiong snapped, his eyes sending a chill down the old man's spine. The butler didn't argue, and hurried to mobilize the troops. Soon, he returned with a squad of soldiers in red scale armor. A wave of killing intent washed over the Changlin estate. Lord Ho, the soldiers' salute resonated throughout the mansion. Let's go. Yes, sir. The Changlin army followed Lin Tianxiong into the sky. The old butler sighed, my lord, you've crossed the line. Even if you have a reason, the emperor won't let this go. Elsewhere in Yaoyue City, nobles were disturbed by the commotion. What's happening? How dare Ho Changlin mobilize his army without permission? Find out. What could make him risk everything like this? He's in trouble now. At the Yaoyue city gate, Li Qingchen, commander of the Imperial City Guards, was on patrol as usual. From his post, he gazed at the Imperial City with awe, grateful for the Emperor's leadership that made the Empire stronger than ever. Suddenly, a sonic boom broke his reverie. He looked up, shocked. He leaped into the air. Ho Changlin. Mobilizing the Changlin army is a capital offense. Turn back now. It was Ho Changlin, leading his army, desperate for revenge. Commander Li, I have urgent business. Stand aside and I'll owe you a favor. Lin Tianxiong said, barely containing his rage. Normally, I'd jump at the chance for a favor from you, but not now. Li Qingchen stood firm. He couldn't believe Ho Changlin was mobilizing his army without permission. The nobles of the Yaoyue Empire could come and go as they pleased, but they needed the emperor's permission to bring an army. Otherwise, it was treason. My only son is dead. I have to bring him home. If I can't avenge him, I'm no father at all. Li Qingchen, you're a father too. Can you honestly say you'd stand here calmly if someone killed your son? I know I'm betraying the emperor's trust, but my son is dead. My life is meaningless. I'll kneel before the emperor and beg for forgiveness after I've retrieved Yunyi and avenged him. Lin Tianxiong's voice cracked with sorrow. His roar shook the city gate. Someone killed Ho Changlin's son. No wonder he's lost it. Yeah, everyone knows Lin Yunyi was Ho Changlin's weakness. Who would be so bold? It's a death wish. Holding Lin Yunyi hostage would give them leverage, but killing him just made Ho Changlin go berserk. The onlookers whispered in shock. Li Qingchen was stunned. He hadn't realized how much Lin Yunyi's death would affect Ho Changlin. He paused. As Lin Tianxiong said, he was a father himself. He understood that grief. He'd be just as furious if someone killed his son. In this world, family ties were complex. Some cherished their families above all else, while others treated them like dirt. He and Ho Changlin were the former. Don't make me fight you. Ho Changlin said coldly. He couldn't let anyone stop him from getting his son back. Let him go. Grief has clouded his judgment. It's still a serious offense, but understandable. Tell him to explain himself when he returns. Just as Li Qingchen hesitated, a deep voice echoed in his mind. He trembled and bowed toward the Yaoyue palace. Ho Changlin recognized that voice. A flicker of fear crossed his face. Only the emperor could command such respect. Move aside. When you return, answer to the emperor. Li Qingchen said to Ho Changlin, stepping aside. Thank you, your majesty. I am guilty. I'll answer for my crimes after I've retrieved my son. I'll accept any punishment. Lin Tianxiong bowed to the Yaoyue palace, relieved. I didn't know Yunyi well, but I watched him grow up. Make sure he's presentable when you bring him back. He deserves that much. Li Qingchen said, sighing. Thank you. Lin Tianxiong nodded and led the Changlin army out of the city, heading toward the Xinyao Mountains. There's going to be blood spilled, Li Qingchen said, shaking his head. Wang Feng, on his way to the Lingyun Sect, knew nothing of Ho Changlin's fury. Even if he did, he wouldn't be worried. He gazed at Lingxiao Peak, impressed, but thinking how his Immortal Sect was far superior. He didn't arrive at the Lingyun Sect making a scene, though. He, Xianxia, and Yaoyue landed quietly at the foot of Lingxiao Peak. It was the first sect he'd seen in this world, so he was curious. Besides, he was building his Immortal Sect and wanted to see how others did it. Crack. Crack. Wang Feng frowned. He turned toward the sound of a whip, coming from a cluster of houses. He led Xianxia and Yaoyue in that direction, not that he wanted to interfere, but he wanted to see if the Lingyun Sect was as bad as he'd heard. He knew the importance of eliminating threats, but he was still a Blue Star transmigrator at heart. How could he kill so many people? They found the source of the sound, a house with an open door. They could clearly see a young man in a Taoist robe whipping a figure curled up on the ground. The young man was at the profound vein realm, while his victim was at the foundation establishment peak. At this rate, the victim had no chance of survival. Chapter 16, Reincarnated Li He. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li He, seriously? I told you to deliver a healing pill to Senior Brother Yi, and you show up this late. Do you even know who he is? He's like, the top dog of the Lingyun Sect's outer disciples. Delaying his breakthrough? You think you can cover that? The young dude was ranting and laying into the scrawny guy, who was all curled up trying to protect himself. You know I got a chewing out from Senior Brother Yi because of you. What a joke, a handyman disciple is just a waste. That the dude started wailing on him harder, making a racket. By now, the scrawny guy was covered in blood. Wang Feng, who was standing outside, frowned, beating him like that over something so small. Treating a handyman disciple like he's not even human. It was the first time Wang Feng had really seen how brutal this cultivation world could be. Survival of the fittest, right? Wasn't just some saying, but even though Wang Feng felt bad for the scrawny guy, he wasn't about to get involved. He wasn't a saint, and there were way too many people having a rough time. If he tried to help everyone, he'd never get anything done. He'd only come to check things out, but he hadn't expected to see such a messed up scene. For outer disciples to be acting that high and mighty, you could tell the Lingyun Sect was no walk in the park, *ding. Congratulations, host. You've discovered a peerless genius, star, just as Wang Feng was shaking his head, ready to split with Xian Cha and the others. That robotic voice in his head made him jump. He looked around, confused. System, where's this genius? Besides them, there were only two people in the yard. Could one of those guys be a peerless genius? *ding. This peerless genius is Li He, a handyman disciple of the Lingyun Sect, star. That voice sent a shock through Wang Feng. He stopped dead and stared at the beaten-up Li He, completely stunned. This guy was a peerless genius. No matter how hard Wang Feng looked, he couldn't see anything special about Li He. A peerless genius, getting pushed around like that by some average outer disciple. System, why is Li He considered a peerless genius? Wang Feng asked, puzzled, *ding. Investigating Li He's origins will cost 1,000 sect points, star. Wang Feng's mouth twitched. This system was getting greedier by the minute. Fine, investigate. Wang Feng gritted his teeth. If the system was calling him a peerless genius, there had to be something to it. Only 1,000 sect points, as long as he could recruit him, it'd be worth it. Even someone like Ling Feiwu hadn't been flagged as a peerless genius by the system. It was rare, and here was one right in front of him. Could he really walk away? But he had to know why Li He was a peerless genius. He couldn't see anything remarkable about him, and the way he just took the abuse seemed like he had zero backbone. If his personality stank, talent or no talent, Wang Feng wouldn't take him. His Immortal Sect wasn't about to be ruined by some ungrateful jerk or villain. *ding. Li He's original name was Li Changgong. He was a powerhouse at the peak of the profound emperor realm. After a sudden death, a wisp of his remnant soul merged with a treasure and reincarnated as Li He, *. The reason he wasn't fighting back was to hide his reincarnation. He didn't want to stick out and have some big shot discover his secret, *. Also, does the host really think Li He wasn't fighting back? The reincarnation of an Emperor Xian wouldn't just let himself be bullied. Anyone who has messed with Li He has mysteriously vanished the next day. The whole Lingyun Sect is clueless, *. The explanation made Wang Feng's jaw drop. He shot Li He a meaningful glance. He was still a rookie. Seeing him get beat down without fighting back. He totally missed the ruthlessness under the surface. Wang Feng was blown away. Li He was a reincarnated powerhouse from the peak of the Xuanhuan realm. In front of the strong, he'd be like a disposable ant. the system's explanation revealed that Li Hei's temperament was in line with Wang Feng's standards. To protect his secret, a peak Xuandi realm powerhouse was letting some nobody bully him. He was swallowing his pride, biding his time, and would return the favor later, all to keep his past hidden. That kind of self-control, combined with the will to kill, was something Wang Feng respected. Ding. Due to the merging of his soul after reincarnation, Li Hei's aptitude skyrocketed, surpassing his old one. After Li Hei's remnant soul awakened and merged, he was already in the enlightenment realm. That robotic voice again. Wang Feng's eyes gleamed. A peak profound Emperor realm powerhouse. He hadn't even sensed Li Hei's true power. If not for the system, he would have thought Li Hei was just building his foundation. With an enlightenment realm cultivation level, he's more terrifying than the strongest in the Lingyun Sect. Wang Feng was sure now that he wanted Li Hei in his pocket. Only his Immortal Sect could house Li Hei, this hidden dragon. Wang Feng made up his mind. He walked straight into the yard with the Xianxia Great Demon and Yaoyue. "Who the hell are you?" The dude who had been beating Li Hei saw Wang Feng and his group, and scowled. He shouted loud, but when his voice fell, he was stunned. There was a glint in his eye and he looked insane. That breathtaking woman filled the whole heart of the Lingyun Sect's outer disciple. It was like he had seen the most beautiful existence in the world, and his soul was in love. Wang Feng ignored the dude and went straight to Li Hei. He looked down at the curled-up figure and said casually, "Come with me." The soft words echoed in Li Hei's ears. Li Hei looked up, shocked. Who is this guy? With my power, I can't even see who this person is. Li Hei didn't answer, but took one look at Wang Feng, then dropped his head and continued curling up, all the horror showing on his face. "Quit pretending. I know where you come from. Come with me, and you'll be safe." The cold words again sent a shiver down Li Hei's spine. He jerked his head up to stare at Wang Feng, his eyes blazing. He was like some cornered beast, suddenly waking up. The violent energy made the Xianxia Great Demon and Yaoyue tense up beside Wang Feng. They both stared at Li Hei, their eyes sharp, but the energy faded fast, and Li Hei stared at Wang Feng. His eyes were dark and deep, making it hard to breathe. "What makes you think you're qualified?" The words came out of Li Hei's mouth. Even though he was a bloody mess, there was something special about his aura. "Just the fact that I know who you are, Li Changgong." Wang Feng grinned a little. Boom. As soon as Wang Feng said that, an incredibly terrifying aura surged from Li Hei and slammed into Wang Feng. It seemed turbulent and all-encompassing, but it only targeted Wang Feng. The others didn't feel anything, but a second later, Li Hei's pupils shrank. Wang Feng was just standing there, taking the hit, without even flinching. He still looked calm. "All right." Li Hei gave Wang Feng a deep look, and nodded. He didn't know who Wang Feng was, but surviving that sliver of Emperor Xian's power and knowing his past was enough to make him follow Wang Feng for a while. If he didn't understand Wang Feng's purpose, Li Hei knew he wouldn't get a wink of sleep. "Want to handle this yourself, or should I help?" Wang Feng glanced at the Lingyun Sect outer disciple who was checking out Yaoyue, and turned back to Li Hei. Li Hei didn't say a word. He moved like lightning, suddenly appearing in front of the outer disciple and grabbing him by the throat. Li Hei, you've got guts." The outer disciple's face turned red as he struggled, but he couldn't break free. Crack. Li Hei's eyes turned cold. With a twist of his hand, there was a snap in the courtyard, and the Lingyun Sect outer disciple's head flopped to the side. Wang Feng glanced at Li Hei meaningfully, but didn't say anything. He turned and left with Yaoyue and the Xianxia Great Demon. Since the system hadn't said anything, it meant Li Hei hadn't officially joined his Immortal Sect yet. It would take some more work to get this reincarnated guy into the fold. Chapter 17, To Flirt with Yaoyue, Death is Relief. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing Wang Feng and his crew walk away, Li Hei's eyes narrowed, a flicker of curiosity in their depths. He quietly trailed behind them. Wang Feng noticed Li Hei's presence and couldn't help but smirk. He wasn't about to rush him into the group. First, they had to deal with the Lingyun Sect situation. After that, he'd chat with Li He and see where things went. Shenxian was having a terrible day. As the top dog in the Lingyun Sect, he'd been chewed out by his own father in front of all the elders. Apparently, he wasn't pushing hard enough to break through to the Xinjiang realm. This put the Lingyun Sect in an awful spot for the upcoming Demon Sealing Conference. They didn't have a single disciple ready to take the lead. Surrounded by his usual group of lackeys, Shenxian stomped down the main path of the Lingyun Sect. His dark mood was so thick, most disciples steered clear. Anyone could tell he was about to blow, and nobody wanted to get caught in the blast. Be big. Bro, the stammering voice grated on Shenxian's already raw nerves. He backhanded the disciple next to him on the head. Trash. Spit it out. The smack disciple didn't dare to get angry. He just pointed ahead and said, Big brother, look, smack, star. Look at what? Who in this whole Lingyun Sect is worth my time? Shenxian whacked the disciple again, but even as he said it, he glanced in the direction the guy was pointing. He froze. A hungry gleam lit his eyes, and a shiver of excitement ran through him. No way, he thought. A woman that gorgeous exists, Shenxian murmured to himself, practically drooling. The vision before him filled his entire world. Nothing else mattered, he had to get her in his arms. He straightened his robes, rubbed his face, plastered on what he thought was a charming smile, and strode toward the beautiful woman. Hey there, beautiful. Where are you headed? I'm Shenxian, head honcho of the Lingyun Sect. Anything you need, just let me know. I can take care of anything in this sect. Wang Feng, watching Shenxian approach with that ridiculous look on his face, could only shake his head. Did this guy have any idea who he was messing with? Even the great demon Xianxia, standing beside Wang Feng, felt a pang of pity for Shenxian. The poor kid had no clue what he was getting himself into. Shenxian's eyes were glued to Yaoyue, burning with lust, but he sure didn't expect what happened next. Instead of swooning at his gentle smile, she just straight up slapped him. Wham! Shenxian went flying, crashing into the ground a good distance away. The earth cracked under him, sending gravel flying. Blood oozed from his mouth. Big brother. How dare you? You hurt our senior brother. You're dead. The whole thing happened so fast, Shenxian's crew barely had time to react. Two of them rushed to his side and hauled him up, while the others glared at Yaoyue, muscles tense, ready to pounce. You dare. Shenxian, propped up by his buddies, was spitting mad. You'll pay for this. In the Lingyun Sect, what he said went. End of story. And this woman dared to treat him like this? He was going to make her regret it. He'd been trying to play it cool, but now. All bets were off. Get her. I want her alive, but make her wish she were dead. Shenxian growled, eyes fixed on Yaoyue. The thought of getting his hands on her, even with his face throbbing, sent a thrill of anticipation through him. Yes, big brother. His lackeys nodded eagerly, then turned to Yaoyue with menacing grins, slowly closing in. I can't watch any more, Wang Feng muttered, shivering as the air around them dropped. This is just, wow. These guys were practically begging for it. It wasn't his fault. Even sect leaders wouldn't dare mess with Yaoyue. This was just plain suicide. You just don't mess with Yaoyue like that. Boom. As Wang Feng spoke, a bone-chilling aura exploded from Yaoyue. The temperature plummeted, and everyone around them gasped. Yaoyue flicked her fingers, tracing a few patterns in the air. Streaks of light flashed out, the disciples surrounding Yaoyue froze mid-step, eyes wide. A gust of wind blew, and their heads rolled to the ground. Thud, Shenxian, still buzzing from his fantasy, saw the severed heads and nearly wet himself. He let out a strangled cry. These were his guys. Sure, they weren't the toughest around, but they were still psychic realm disciples. And she'd taken them out like it was nothing. He hadn't even seen her move. How was this possible? You killed my Lingyun Sect disciples. Fear finally overpowered the pain, and Shenxian managed to choke out the words, */ even as he spoke, a flash of light zipped across his neck. Blood spurted out. Shenxian's eyes bulged. He slumped to the ground. He never thought he'd die like this, on his own turf. He was the top disciple of the Lingyun Sect. His future was bright. How could this happen? How could he die? But it was too late for regrets. Darkness swallowed him whole. Whoa! Senior brother Chen is dead. Oh my god, this woman is insane. She killed our top disciple, right here in the Lingyun Sect. This is bad. When Shenxian's dead, the sect master is going to flip. She's got a death wish, pulling this stunt on our turf. They're all gonna pay, the watching disciples gasped. Some were outraged, thinking Yaoyue had gone too far. Others trembled, knowing Shenxian's death would throw the whole sect into chaos. A few even wore sly smiles, with hatred smoldering in their eyes as they looked at Shenxian's corpse. Several disciples, pale and shaking, turned and ran. Compared to the shock and fear of the Lingyun Sect disciples, Wang Feng and the great demon Xiansha were cool as cucumbers. Messing with Yaoyue only came with one price, death. And honestly, that was probably a good thing. Wang Feng knew just how vicious she could be. Li He, still lingering in the back, was also deeply impressed. His gaze lingered on Yaoyue, a spark of something in his eyes. Someone like that is hanging around the edge of the Xingya Mountains. And she's got a Xuanhuan realm master with her. Li He's deep gaze was trained on Wang Feng, analyzing the situation in his mind. Yaoyue had masked her presence so well that he couldn't sense her cultivation earlier. But now, after she'd wiped out Shenxian and his cronies, even he, a former peak Xuandi realm master, could feel her aura. This made him incredibly curious about Wang Feng and his group. He'd been lurking in the Lingyun Sect long enough to know that there wasn't a single Xuanhuan realm powerhouse in the sect, or even in the surrounding area. In this backwater, Xuanhuan realm masters were basically royalty. Even the Shining Sun Empire would treat them with respect. And here were these masters, following Wang Feng around like loyal dogs. The situation was so strange that even Li He was intrigued. Could he be a scion of some ancient family? Li He's eyes narrowed as he gave Wang Feng another thorough look. Who dares touch my son? The earth shook as a furious roar echoed through the mountains. A group of figures dropped from the sky, landing in front of Wang Feng and his crew. Shenxian. My son, Chen Fengshe, sect master of the Lingyun Sect, landed and saw Shenxian lying on the ground. He shuddered. Tears welled in his eyes as he trembled toward Shenxian. He gently caressed his son's cheek, his only son. He'd scolded him that morning, but that was just because the pressure of the demon sealing conference was getting to him. Deep down, Chen Feng was proud of his son's progress. And now, in an instant, Shenxian was gone. You! Did you kill my son? Chen Feng looked up, his eyes blazing with murderous intent. He stared at Yaoyue, his powerful body radiating an aura that made the very air around them tremble. Chen Feng was a mad lion, and the Lingyun Sect disciples cowered. They'd never seen him like this. His scarlet eyes looked like they could tear someone apart. They couldn't even meet his gaze. Facing Chen Feng's rage and killing intent, Yaoyue remained unfazed. She didn't even glance at him, standing quietly beside Wang Feng with her arms crossed. You have a death wish. Seeing Yaoyue's contempt, Chen Feng finally snapped. Uncontrollable power burst from his body. Chapter 18. Since then, there will be no Lingyun Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The raw power of a master at the peak of their cultivation erupted from Chen Feng, shaking Lingyun Sect to its foundations. Every disciple felt the monstrous rage radiating from him. What's going on? Why is the sect master so furious? Haven't you heard? Senior brother Shenxian was murdered right here on our grounds. What? How can that be? Oh my god, Who's got the guts to pull a stunt like that on us? The disciples buzzed with disbelief and anger. Lingyun Sect was a major power in the outer Xingyao Mountains. How dare someone come here to bully them? Even those who hadn't liked Shenxian now felt a surge of shared resentment for anyone who would provoke their sect. You die. Chen Feng stood on the sect master's path, his eyes burning red as he glared at Yaoyue. Her beauty meant nothing to him now. He didn't see a stunning woman, only an enemy to be destroyed. With a guttural roar, he thrust out his hand, a massive amount of profound energy coalescing in his palm. The energy surged so intensely that the air visibly warped around it. The entire palm glowed with blinding light. Boom! Chen Feng unleashed his palm, sending a wave of raw power crashing toward Yaoyue like a tsunami. The watching disciples of Lingyun Sect swelled with pride. This was their sect master, known as one of the strongest figures in the outer Xingyao Mountains. But alongside their pride, they felt a twinge of pity for Yaoyue. What a fool she was to offend Lingyun Sect and throw her life away. When they'd first seen her, every disciple had been struck dumb by Yaoyue's beauty. Even the female disciples were captivated. Now, this vision was about to be crushed. What a waste! A woman like Yaoyue was unforgettable, like a shooting star burned into their memories. Even if she was about to die, only Wang Feng, the great demon Xianxia, and Li He remained calm. Xianxia and Li He even smirked. Chen Feng, a nobody, dared to challenge a master of the Xuanhuan realm. He was asking for it. Just as Chen Feng's attack was about to crush Yaoyue, her beautiful eyes turned icy, and a powerful energy surged from her, shaking the very air around her. This piercing aura seemed to transform into an impossibly sharp sword, slashing toward the incoming attack. Boom! The energy, strong enough to overwhelm any master, instantly crumbled like paper when it touched Yaoyue's aura. The immense power dissolved into starlight, fading away into nothing. The world, which had trembled, was instantly still once more. How is that possible? Chen Feng's eyes went wide, his face a mask of disbelief. The exclamation burst from his lips. The disciples and elders of Lingyun Sect were stunned, rubbing their eyes to make sure they weren't hallucinating. Hiss! Gasps of shock rippled through the crowd, their minds reeling. Just moments ago, they'd been mourning the death of such a rare beauty. Now, it was like God was playing a cruel joke on them. Their sect master, a top-tier master, had his attack casually erased by this woman. She hadn't even lifted a finger, only used her aura. How terrifying was that? Who are you? Trembling, Chen Feng forced down his anger, fixed his gaze on Yaoyue, and demanded. Yaoyue's power made Chen Feng hesitant to act rashly. He knew he'd put everything he had into that attack. If she'd brushed it aside so easily, she was on a level he couldn't hope to reach. The pain of losing his son had almost driven him mad, but Yaoyue's strength shocked him back to his senses. Yaoyue ignored him, standing silently by Wang Feng, her icy arrogance on full display. In truth, she was simply waiting for Wang Feng's order. She knew that Wang Feng held her life in his hands, and she wouldn't dare kill Chen Feng without his explicit permission. She'd never feared anyone before, but now, Wang Feng was the one being she dreaded. I don't believe it. You can't be that strong. Yaoyue's attitude enraged Chen Feng. He convinced himself that her power was a bluff. Boom! He unleashed his power again, pouring everything into his palm, creating a blinding light. A series of palm strikes formed instantly, hurtling toward Yaoyue. Kill him, Wang Feng said casually, waving his hand. He'd considered keeping Chen Feng alive to learn more about the Xingyao Mountains and the Yari Empire, but if he was going to be an idiot, what was the point? The Lingyun Sect was full of people. He could find someone else to talk to, even if they didn't know as much as Chen Feng. Hearing Wang Feng's words, Yaoyue's body emanated a chilling cold, so intense that ice crystals formed in the air. The temperature plummeted. Yaoyue extended a delicate hand and flicked it lightly. The ice crystals shot out, ripping through the air with incredible speed, leaving tiny cracks in their wake. Boom! Before the stunned onlookers, the ice crystals collided with Chen Feng's attack. The power shattered the palm strikes, then kept moving toward Chen Feng without slowing down. Even across the distance, the raw power stung Chen Feng's skin. Chen Feng's face went white. He threw up a shield of profound energy and tried to back away. He couldn't escape, the ice crystals pierced him in an instant, tearing through his shield as if it wasn't even there. Puff, star, Chen Feng's eyes went wide, and blood spewed from his mouth. He looked down at the holes in his chest, raised a bloody finger toward Yaoyue, and tried to speak. But the words never came. Darkness claimed him, and he fell, boom, star, the ground where Chen Feng landed exploded, sending gravel flying. Ice petals swirled in the air, like a mournful tribute to the sect master of Lingyun Sect and one of the most powerful men in the outer Xingyao Mountains. Sect. The sect master is dead. What do we do? That the disciples and elders of Lingyun Sect watched their leader fall, and their faces were stricken with terror. They stumbled backward, trying to control their fear. Yaoyue's beauty, once so captivating, now inspired only dread. Their sect master was a master at the peak of his abilities. She killed him so easily, without him even putting up a fight. How powerful must she be? Even worse, they knew that she might come for them next. If their sect master couldn't stop her, how could they hope to survive? Sect master. You dare to kill our sect master. We'll never forgive you for this. One of the elders of Lingyun Sect threw himself at Chen Feng's body, eyes burning with hatred. Kill him, Wang Feng said again, without looking at the elder. Yaoyue flicked her hand, and a light flashed. A hole appeared in the elder's forehead, dripping blood. He fell dead on top of Chen Feng. Lingyun Sect is disbanded. From this day forward, there will be no Lingyun Sect in the Shining Sun Empire. If any of you want revenge, feel free to try. Wang Feng said to the remaining disciples and elders, his voice cold and without emotion. The words sent shivers down their spines. Chapter 19, Yin and Yang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sight of those two corpses silenced Wang Feng's critics, leaving the Lingyun Sect disciples trembling. Not a peep of argument among them. Wang Feng surveyed the scene. He'd considered wiping out the whole sect, but some of the disciples seemed decent enough. A complete massacre felt too harsh. Besides, the Lingyun Sect wasn't a real threat. Even if he let them be, they couldn't touch his Immortal Sect. Wang Feng was sure of that. If they could threaten him, though, he'd wipe them off the map, feelings or no feelings. With that, Wang Feng, Yaoyue, Xianxia, and Li He left the Lingyun Sect. If I find out this sect hasn't been disbanded, it'll end up like this rock. The cold, cutting words echoed in the air. A flash of light, and a massive boulder on Lingyun Sect land shattered into pieces. The Lingyun Sect disciples scattered, fear in their eyes. Their own sect leader couldn't stand against Wang Feng, how could they? Are we really just going to disband? One elder asked, his face a mask of resentment. He'd kept his mouth shut while Wang Feng was around, but now that he was gone, he was starting to think. Should they really let some outsider tear down everything they'd built? Their reputation in the Xingyao Mountains would be ruined. Plus, this elder was the most powerful member of the Lingyun Sect now that Sect Master Chen Feng and the Great Elder were gone. If the sect stayed together, he could be the next leader. And what if we don't disband? That guy's ruthless. He'll come back for revenge, and we'll all be dead. Another elder said grimly. None of the elders wanted to disband. Being a well-known sect elder came with perks. Their skills were nothing special in the grand scheme of the Yari Empire. They only held power in the Xingyao Mountains because of their Lingyun Sect status. The elders' words hung in the air, silencing the others. What choice did they have? They couldn't stand against Wang Feng. If they kept the Lingyun Sect alive, they were signing their own death warrants. Elders, farewell. Several disciples bowed to the elders. They couldn't take the pressure from Wang Feng's warning. They figured the Lingyun Sect was doomed anyway. Staying was just wasting time. The other disciples started to get restless, considering their own exits. So eager to abandon the Lingyun Sect. One threat, and you all bail. The strongest elder snapped, a cold glint in his eye. Why stick around? That guy's right. The Lingyun Sect is done for. One disciple retorted, with the sect on its way out, the elders had no power over them anymore. These departing disciples were emboldened. Insolence. How dare you question an elder? The elder flew into a rage, unleashing the anger Wang Feng had stirred up. He struck the disciple with a fist. The disciple was instantly overwhelmed. The fist tore through his body, and the force of the blast turned him into a bloody mist. The other departing disciples froze, paralyzed with fear. This elder. Where is Chen Feng? A booming voice echoed across Lingshao Peak, and a black figure descended, stunning the Lingyun Sect disciples. The arrival of this group brought a crushing pressure that sent tremors through the entire peak. The Lingyun Sect elders stared, terrified. They sensed that these newcomers were all powerful fighters, far beyond their level. The leader was on another level entirely. Senior, what brings you to our Lingyun Sect? The strongest elder stammered, bowing deeply to the imposing man at the front. He wasn't nearly as ruthless as he'd been just moments before, when he attacked his own disciple. Are you Chen Feng? Changlin Ho Lin Tianxiong surveyed the elder indifferently. These newcomers were Changlin Ho and his army, here for revenge. As a prince of the Yaoyue Empire, Marquis Changlin didn't spend much time in the Xingya Mountains, but he knew enough to realize that if he wanted to find his son's killer, he'd have to start with the local powers. And no, our sect master Chen Feng is dead. The elder's awe of Marquis Changlin only increased. I'm asking you, do you know who killed my son? Marquis Changlin asked, unmoved by the news of the Lingyun Sect leader's death. He didn't care about the Lingyun Sect. This wasn't about some small sect. All he cared about was finding the person who murdered his son. Your son is. I am Marquis Changlin of the Shining Sun Empire. My son was Lin Yuni. What? Whoa! That the elder and the Lingyun Sect disciples stared at Marquis Changlin in horror. They hadn't expected a prince of the Shining Sun Empire to show up at their doorstep. They might be top dogs in the Xingya Mountains, but to the Yaoyue Empire, they were nothing. A prince could crush them like bugs. The thought of someone daring to kill Marquis Changlin's son sent chills down their spines. Who was crazy enough to take on royalty? The elder's face clouded over, and he clenched his teeth. Lord Marquis, I know who killed your son. He bowed respectfully, his body trembling. Speak. That the air crackled with murderous intent. We found out that young Master Yun was in the Xingya Mountains, but we didn't want to intrude. We didn't expect someone would harm him. It's unforgivable. That same man came to our sect and murdered our sect master. He's the only one around here with the guts to kill young Master Yun. That the elder almost groveled, trying to control his fear. Who is he? Marquis Changlin's eyes narrowed. He knew the elder was trying to use him, but he didn't care. He just wanted his son's killer. As the elder said, the Lingyun Sect was the major power in the Xingya Mountains. If someone dared to walk in and kill the sect leader, they were probably reckless enough to kill Lin Yuni. This man was a prime suspect. Marquis Changlin was willing to kill anyone who might be involved in his son's death. Of course, if he was wrong, the Lingyun Sect would pay the price. He didn't give his name. He's a mysterious outsider. But he ordered our sect to disband. If you announce that the Lingyun Sect is breaking up, he's sure to show his face. That the elder tried to hide his excitement. His plan was working. If all went well, he could use Changlin to kill his enemy and win the prince's favor. Crack. He barely registered the sensation of his head separating from his body. Chapter 20. Li He enters the Immortal Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. An ant dares to defy me, Marquis Changlin. Marquis Changlin sneered, watching the Lingyun Sect elder's body fall apart. He'd have gladly killed the person who killed the Lingyun Sect leader as revenge for his son, but this elder's delusions of rebuilding the Lingyun Sect were just wishful thinking. Seeing the elder's fate, the remaining Lingyun Sect elders and disciples trembled, afraid to even breathe for fear of angering Marquis Changlin. Yaoyue's killing of the Lingyun Sect leader was terrifying, But it paled in comparison to the fear Marquis Changlin instilled. After all, Marquis Changlin was a powerful figure in the Shining Sun Empire, his reputation deeply ingrained in their minds. You, just do what he said and lure that person out. Marquis Changlin pointed at a random Lingyun Sect elder and said dismissively. Yes. Yes, Lord Marquis. I'll do my best to bring that person out. That the chosen elder froze, then beamed with joy. He hadn't expected such good fortune. He bowed respectfully to Marquis Changlin, his voice trembling. Marquis Changlin, without another word, led his army and occupied the Lingyun Sect's main hall. The remaining Lingyun Sect elders weren't angry in the slightest, they were ecstatic. It was an honor to have Marquis Changlin visit, let alone temporarily reside within their Lingyun Sect. Did everyone hear Marquis Changlin's command? Elder Lin, the designated elder, glanced proudly at the other elders and disciples, and declared solemnly. Just tell us what Marquis Changlin wants, Elder Lin, and we'll be sure to follow his wishes. Despite not understanding the elder's smug attitude, the remaining Lingyun Sect elders still spoke respectfully. The disciples who had considered leaving the Rising Cloud Sect also stayed. With Marquis Changlin's backing, the Rising Cloud Sect wouldn't be destroyed but would only grow stronger. Why would they want to leave? Good. We're re-establishing the Rising Cloud Sect. Disciples, spread the word throughout the Xingyao Mountains that we're rebuilding. Lure that person out. Elder Lin said with a sneer. With Marquis Changlin's support, the fear instilled by Wang Feng and the others vanished, replaced by an intense desire for revenge. They believed that with Marquis Changlin on their side, Wang Feng and his group were doomed. Against the Empire's upper echelons, any individual, no matter how strong, was just an ant. Yes, that the Lingyun Sect disciples present responded respectfully. They, along with the elders, were thrilled, envisioning a bright future for their Lingyun Sect. Meanwhile, Wang Feng returned to the thatched hut with Yaoyue and the others. As soon as he landed, Wang Feng turned to Li He with a chuckle. So, have you made up your mind? Care to join my Immortal Sect? Immortal Sect? Li He's eyes flickered. He'd never heard of such a sect. Even in his past life, he couldn't help but feel a hint of ridicule. Even at the peak of the Xuanhuan realm in his previous life, the sect he'd created hadn't dared to use the word immortal. How could this small, backwater sect dare to use such a name? Immediately, Li He's opinion of Wang Feng and the Immortal Sect plummeted. Yes, join my Immortal Sect, and we can restore you to your peak, even surpass it. Wang Feng said confidently, his words filled with conviction. Ha! A sparrow can't comprehend the ambition of a swan. Li He sneered, his face full of disdain. Hey! Show some respect for the sect leader, kid, or I'll show you what pain really is. The great demon of Xuanzi glared at Li He. To the great demon's shock, as soon as he spoke, Li He's gaze made him feel the presence of an incredibly terrifying being, and his soul trembled. He choked back his vicious words, lowered his head, and fell silent. Even if you were at the peak of the profound Emperor realm in your previous life, you're nothing more than an enlightenment realm now. If this sect wanted to kill you, unless you were willing to risk everything, you wouldn't stand a chance. As for that treasure of yours, I know all about it. If I really wanted to exploit you, I'd just spread the word. You'd be dead before you knew it. Hearing Li He's sarcastic words, Wang Feng didn't get angry. Instead, he looked at Li He with a knowing smile. Wang Feng's words not only shocked Li He, but also made the great demon Xianxia and Yaoyue tremble. Yaoyue was immediately on guard, her icy Jiuyo aura swirling around Wang Feng. A reincarnation of a peak profound Emperor realm powerhouse, that the great demon Xianxia exclaimed in surprise. He hadn't realized that Li He, who appeared ordinary, was such a terrifying figure. No wonder that glance had made him tremble. A powerhouse at the peak of the profound Emperor realm was practically a god. Even now, with Li He's weakened state, the great demon Xianxia was terrified. Who knew what trump cards Li He had prepared for his reincarnation? Who the hell are you? Li He stared at Wang Feng, an indescribable aura emanating from his thin frame. In the valley, the wind surged, and the two powerhouses, Xiansha and Yaoyue, became tense. I am the lord of the Immortal Sect. Perhaps my Immortal Sect isn't famous yet, but give it time, and it will shake the heavens. A proud look appeared on Wang Feng's face, his whole body radiating confidence. He stared at Li He and said firmly, I only want one thing from you, to join my Immortal Sect. As for your treasure, I don't care about it. Perhaps the treasure on Li He's body was worth risking one's life for, but to Wang Feng, it was nothing. The system in his hands was the greatest treasure of all. What if I refuse? Li He narrowed his eyes. He was unsure about Wang Feng's true nature. He knew his origins and even the treasure he possessed. Since his reincarnation, Li He had believed he was well hidden. Wang Feng was a stranger, yet he knew so much. As Wang Feng said, unless he was willing to risk everything and use his trump card, he couldn't guarantee a win against Wang Feng. And if he recklessly used his trump card and failed, the consequences would be severe. Then I won't harm you, but I can't guarantee your safety from others. Wang Feng said with a smirk. His tone wasn't threatening, but his words were the biggest threat Li He could imagine. Li He's face darkened, his eyes fixed on Wang Feng. A terrifying aura emerged from him, as if the god of death was looming, yet, under Li He's gaze, Wang Feng remained calm and unaffected. I'll join your Immortal Sect for 10 years. After that, I'm leaving, and you can't tell anyone. If you don't agree, you'll die. Li He said solemnly, his voice edged with warning. Wang Feng's indifference made Li He hesitant. He'd used a hint of pressure from the profound Emperor realm, but Wang Feng hadn't flinched. Moreover, after the destruction of the Lingyun Sect, he needed a safe place to recover. 10 years was enough time. Then, he would repay the insult he was suffering now. All right, I agree. Wang Feng nodded. He didn't care about Li He's motives. In 10 years, the divine Immortal Sect would have developed far beyond Li He's imagination. Perhaps at that point, profound Emperor realm powerhouses wouldn't even be qualified to join. Ding, congratulations to the host for recruiting a peerless genius. Reward, 30,000 sect points, a random summoning chance. Wang Feng was thrilled. This was the most generous reward he'd received yet. It seemed that when recruiting disciples, he should aim for peerless geniuses to develop the Immortal Sect and receive even greater rewards. https://